Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, but then I tell you that every time, but I mean it every time. Buenas tardes, Lupita.
Buenas tardes, Egberto.
How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. What about you? I know you were out of town last week.
Yes. As soon as I left Politics Done Right on Tuesday, I jumped on an airplane, headed out to Philadelphia for the Netroots Nation, that big conference of progressives, from all over the country. I mean, we had over 4,000 people there, We had over 300 people from the media. We had a whole lot of the presidential candidates there. We had a whole ton of Congress people, senators, the whole works. They were all there,
That sounds like something you definitely enjoy.
Yes. Am I a nerd or what?
No,
but hey,
everyone has their, their thing.
Their thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my thing, and I was liking it. But you know what was a great part about it, man? The people were excited, and the people were like, we're going to do it this time. We're going to get rid of that dude. You know which dude I'm talking about, right?
The dude.
The dude. We are going to get rid of that dude. So when that dude is gone, it's going to be all good, folks. And you know what? We have a plan. And the plan involves, The plan involves all of whom? You. Because a lot of people don't realize, everybody sit down there and think, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It is not going to be okay unless we make it okay. So, folks have to remember that we are the ones in control. And once you realize that we are the ones in control, guess what, Lupita? We are the ones in control, So anyhow, what are we going to talk about today? I need to find out what we're going to talk about today because you know what? I don't have it on my screen right now, but I am about to have it on the screen. The title of the show today as it pulls up on my phone is Democratic Establishment Support of Biden is a Tacit Act of Sexism. Oh, no, don't say that.
Gasp.
Gasp. But you know what? When you think about it, I got the idea from an author at Daily Kos, I'm gonna do that in the blog of the week. I'm gonna read the blog of the week and then we'll establish that. But anyway, the subtitle is Establishment Support for Biden has a component associated with it, sexism. While Biden is ahead in the polls, it is by design. And if he accidentally wins the primary, you know what that means? Trump wins. Subtitle: Progressives mobilize and support candidates who support the middle class and poor. Disregard Biden. What do I mean by that? This isn't suggesting elections or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm saying here is this. Disregard all the hoopla that you hear. Disregard all the crazy stuff that you hear. Disregard it. And what do I mean by disregard it? I mean just that. We cannot win 2020. Progressives can't win 2020 through fear. The polls that show Joe Biden as the most likely Democrat who can beat Trump is just that, a fearful choice. We believe he will win over the working class voter Hillary did not get. Dream on. Dream on. How many of these elitists sitting down there suggesting which makes the best candidate has ever spoken to a whole bunch of people in the field themselves? How many of these guys have sat down and went into the barrios or the ghettos or spoken to people in Appalachia and see why did folks in Appalachia realize if they voted, go ahead and vote for Donald Trump? What was the exact reason? Was it only that these guys were a bunch of racists and all of that? If you put out a narrative there and you start to believe that narrative, that is your biggest threat to failure. Okay? And I'm not discounting all these isms at all right? But I always give the example that we can all overcome isms. Well, I'm not saying we can change personal isms, but we can overcome isms and have people vote in their own interest. So just sitting back on isms is not going to get us anywhere. The voters we need are the ones who stayed home because they felt they had no choice, worthy of their vote and sacrifice. And Biden doesn't reach those guys. I disagree with that, but understand it. A Biden-Trump 2020 presents the same dilemma for those voters. But before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
And of course, we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And we have Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores and Lupita, a.k.a. me.
I love that one. A.k.a. Lupita, la presencia al programa.
Tuesdays at noon.
There you go. And then, of course, we have Jenner Asian Radio, a weekly program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground, Bhangra, Bollywood, funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats. And when is that again?
That is right after Politics Done Right, so 4 to 6 p.m.
And you know that means I can go home jamming, folks. Check out all our schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is listener-supported public community radio station, so please, if you remember, if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information. Not influenced by whom, Lupita?
The corporatocracy.
The corporatocracy. Folks, what we want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your voice. This is a call-in show. We want you to call 713-526-5738. I have a blog of the week today, but call 713-526-5738. Get in the queue early. I want the queue filled up because I want to hear your voices. Let me tell you, when I went to Netroots Nation in Philadelphia this weekend, actually it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and came back on Sunday. There were a whole bunch of us on Media Row. There was KPFT Politics Done Right. There was Free Speech TV. There were a whole lot of these different networks, right? Let me tell you what the difference was between KPFT Politics Done Right and most others. I wanted to hear the voices of everybody. It didn't have to be a politician. It didn't have to be any of that. Let me tell you what it was. Okay? I wanted to speak to the average person. I wanted to speak to the big-time politician. I wanted to speak to the writer. So I spoke to the writer, the ex-Huffington Post writer who is now with the Intercept, Ryan Grimm. I spoke to Congresswoman Deb Haaland, one of the first Native American congresswomen in Washington. I also spoke to several of these authors from Daily Kos. I spoke to people that had written books on pharma, just about ever. I did 48 official interviews, and I think if I count the kind of laissez-faire type interviews that I did offhand, it was probably more like 50, between 51 and 55. I don't remember. I had a count there. And the reason why, people, is this, right? A lot of folks in the media, and I notice it's been kind of percolating toward progressive media. they forget what we are really here for, right? We're really here to hear your voices. We're really here to give voice to the people who generally don't get voices. And that's why you have a station like KPFT. That's why you have Politics Done Right. That's what we do. So when we ask you, and whenever we ask, hey guys, look, man, please go ahead and please call and go to kpft.org and support the radio station. There's a reason for that. We do our job. And when we say community, we are really about community, and we really do this community-wise. Anyhow, folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, the title of the blog post, folks, is "The Media Anointing Biden Electability Proves Chris Rock's Point, the Ability to Fail Successfully." I'm going to read it fast because I want to hear from you guys. 713-526-5738. Start calling now so you can fill this baby up. And I'm going to be going to you one at a time. And I'll play management on the phones to make sure everybody get their fair share. Anyhow, going on, it goes like this. Former Vice President Joe Biden ran for president twice and failed both times. None of the women running now has run before. Biden has a track record of failure. They have none. It is funny that it is their electability that the powers that be are questioning. Does that not seem a bit backward? One person who fails twice, and somehow the people who have to justify their electability are the ones who never failed. I watched a Chris Rock stand up one time when he said something that knocked me. Paraphrasing, he said that we would have overcome prejudice when one can fail, and it does not virtually ban the specific person or person of that classification from getting a second chance. Daily co-staff writer Kerry Ellerfield hit the nail on the head with the following article excerpted below. Biden ran for president twice, lost twice, and yet the women are being asked if they are electable. As I wrote recently, all the data points suggest that white men don't do any better than the ballot box than women or people of color. They just run at higher rates. In fact, an NBC analysis of the 2018 midterm show that non-incumbent female candidate widely outperformed non-incumbent male candidates, with Democratic women winning their primaries at twice the rate of their male counterparts. In addition, recent research show that women of color, white women, and men of color get elected at basically the same rates as white men. As Reflective Democracy wrote last month, the electability myth. There is no mistaking that white men dominate politics at 30% of the population. They hold 62% of elected offices, and the local, state, and federal level more than double their share. But while white men may still have a monopoly hold on elected office, they do not hold a monopoly on electability. In 2015, our research found that when they are on the ballot, women of all races and men of color win elections at the same rate as white men. Running the data on the 2018 election confirms it. White men's electability advantage is a myth. Yet, electability concerns dog Harris and Warren, while Biden continues to benefit from being viewed as the most electable candidate. 45% of Democratic-leaning voters said that in the recent ABC polls, with Harris and Warren sitting at 9% and 7% respectively, both Biden has an actual biographical reason to question his mettle after running for president twice, in 1998 and 2008. Biden's first bid is best known for his withdrawal following a plagiarism scandal in which he admitted to quoting the speech of a British politician almost verbatim and without attribution. Biden's second bid was marked by a series of gaffes, including one in early 2007 in which he hailed Barack Obama for being the mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. He dropped out in January of 2008 just after finishing a distant fifth in the Iowa caucuses. Biden's bid to date has bore some of the same hallmarks that haunted him last time. He has stumbled twice over issues involving women, and race demonstrated an inability to adaptly handle either issue without making it worse. On the debate stage, Biden easily had more experience in a front national audience than almost anyone, say Bernie, and yet he got repeatedly bested by a first-term senator making her debut in front of a national debate audience. And yet people are hung up on the electability of Harris, who hands down owned the debate stage, and Warren, who 31% of Democratic leaners say has the best policy idea. Sanders is a closest second at 18%, with Biden at 11%. So if you think people are being unfair to Biden when they note that he's out of step with the demographics of the Democratic Party, or that he has a dismal track record of running for president, think about the female candidates who are campaigning harder, doing more interviews, turning in better debate performances, and pushing out more new policy ideas than the current front runner. Isn't questioning their electability based on a singular data point. In an election that was marred by rampant foreign interference and an unprecedented FBI intervention, just a little unfair? After all, a lot more men have lost their bids to be president than have women. We better come to accept reality sooner than later. Biden is not electable. One wonders if the establishment is that inept, or they simply want a Trump continuation for the pilfer that will benefit the political class that currently owns the government. Folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Not only to speak about the reality of Biden Care, which will kill 125,000 people. And this number is not pulled out of the air. Biden says his health care plan will leave it's not Medicare for all. It will leave 3% of Americans without health care. Listen to me good, folks. Biden Care, in other words, what he is proposing, he doesn't want to go to the extreme like Medicare for all now. Oh, we can't do Medicare for all. So what he's saying, let's go ahead and allow, so that we don't mess with the insurance companies, let's allow 125,000 people to die in the next, I think it's 10 years. Now, here's the funny part about it. And I'm coming to you, Scott. And then Tori, and then Joe. And here's the funny part about it, right? That is what Texas is doing, and we Democrats, or those who are Democrats, are continuously attacking Republicans in Texas, saying, hey guys, you are allowing Texans to die by not accepting the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, the Medicaid expansion to Obamacare. Republican Texas Congress people, Republican Texas politicians are killing Texans. Are we going to vote in somebody who decide not only to kill Texans by having them have not insurance, but Americans in general? Come on, people. We have to get it right. We have to get it right. We got to get it right now. Go ahead, Scott. Come on in, my brother.
Thank you. Well, about a month ago,
yes,
Time magazine ran an article about climate change.
Yes.
And it said that's the most urgent issue in the coming presidential campaign.
Yes.
There's really a time limit on it. And it also said that recent presidents have had a record of just one real legislative accomplishment each. Like Obama had Obamacare, although I don't think that was a complete success. Actually, I think a bigger success was getting rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Very good. You're so right. I mean, people have different views of what they think are successful, and you're correct. I mean, Obama had a big success. I mean, Obama was actually filled up with successes in his first 2 years. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He accomplished more than most presidents accomplished in 8 years in 2 years. That's Obama's record. Now we can debate whether those accomplishments, the efficacy of all those accomplishments, but he did accomplish a lot.
He filled 2 seats on the Supreme Court.
Exactly, and he should have had a third one. So I mean,
yes, he should have. But the people elected a Republican Senate.
Right. Oh, look, Obama was a very successful, what I call a very successful neoliberal president that cared about people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's who Obama was.
Yeah, I thought he was an inspiring person.
Absolutely.
Ian Reifovitz wrote a book about Obama's America, and I greatly agree with him that one of Obama's strongest points was social pluralism.
Yes. Look, Obama was. A lot of my leftist friends, right, and I am a leftist myself. They give Obama a hard time because he's a neoliberal.
Yeah, I have seen that on Facebook.
Right. What I tell people about Obama is this: don't ask Obama, the person who had a whole lot of weight on his back, to be that completely transformative president, given the battle that he has. The presidency have its own gravity, and you're not going to change that gravity being the first elected black person that has a whole lot of other pressures on him as well. As I told people, yes, he was he followed neoliberal concepts even as a community community activist who was a real progressive. He didn't govern completely like a progressive, but I think he did a lot of. I don't think he had much choice because I don't think he got enough support to do what was necessary.
No,
so
if I met him, I would tell him that he made Don't Ask, Don't
yes.
Tell expire on the day that I turned 70.
Right. And I know that was a great thing for you, Scott. I know that for you that was a very important thing.
I liked his birthday present.
There you go.
I doubt that he was aware of that, but I imagine he knows a lot about some constituents. But
right.
A president doesn't know everybody in the country.
No.
In fact, that's one reason I don't really enjoy presidential campaigns.
I got you, brother.
I can know Garnet Coleman or Anise Parker or Fred Hoffines or
right. You can know
Edward
your.
Vanberg.
I got to go, but you got to know
Thank
your
you.
local politicians. You know your local politicians, but the national ones, you just have to go on their policy. Thank you so kindly for being here for us, Scott. You have a wonderful day. Okay, let's go to Tori. Come on in, Tori.
Hey, Egberto.
Talk to me,
welcome
hermano.
back to Houston.
Thank you, sir.
Biden's a free trader, and he's not a safe bet. And just because he's a free trader,
Right.
those manufacturing jobs left because of Bill Clinton and his labor secretary, Robert Reich, forming NAFTA. And it was like Ross Perot said, a big sucking sound happened.
Right, exactly.
And the result of that is Trump,
Yes.
because he promised a lot of false promises to people in the heartland and the manufacturing areas, ex-manufacturing areas.
Mhm.
Those jobs didn't come back, but there are a lot of jobs.
Yes.
They're crappy jobs, but people vote their pocketbook.
Right.
Nobody's talking about the oldest axiom of American politics. Who wins or how do people vote? Everyone was saying how they're going to vote on liberal or this or that or identity issue of this and that, conservative or progressive. They're all identity issues. If you break everything down, it's an identity issue.
Right.
But the bottom line, people vote their pocketbook.
And you know what?
And so you're going to vote for who's going to. I'm going to make my point first.
Yeah, go ahead.
That people are going to vote their pocketbook, and that's who they vote for. I mean, it's like they can be very desperate. They might not vote for their ideal, but they're going to vote their pocketbook. And Biden is neither one of those because he's a free
Right.
trader.
Exactly.
The Dems' pocketbook issues, starting with Bill Clinton, was very successful. He had the tech boom going behind him, created jobs. They're talking about, changing up health care, student loans, minimum wage. These are the, the progressive pocketbook issues. But the people that those are appealing to people that are already going to vote for a progressive anyway. We need to appeal to the people who are out of work, the old steel workers, the old union jobs that aren't there anymore. Those pocketbooks are the ones that the Democrats need to go after.
I
And
agree
it's all
with that.
about,
What are those?
Getting rid of the free. We need manufacturing jobs. How are we going to bring back manufacturing? And it's going to be infrastructure, rebuilding infrastructure. It's going to be solar. Democrats need to start promising people these damn jobs.
You know
and,
something,
high-tech
Tori?
jobs that pay well.
Let me stop you a
Otherwise,
second.
it's like it's Trump's ball.
Let me stop you a second. I think you're absolutely right, but Trump has the Democrats in a position that they're forcing themselves into, and that is when they're talking. He goes ahead and he issues a racist tweet. Who needs to know any further that Trump is a racist? Why are we spending 3 days? We're on our third day discussing his tweets, which means exactly what you're talking about. Okay, we're going to go. Elizabeth Warren could be in West Virginia right now saying, hey, my daughter was in West Virginia riding around with her job. And what she saw was a whole bunch of ghettos and a whole bunch of horrendous looking places. And it wasn't black people. Okay. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Warren into these areas, right? Think about this. If you started to talk about folks going into those areas and say, this is what we're going to do, we don't need to be talking about all these issues. I mean, how many different ways do you have to explain that we are governed by a sexist, racist, xenophobe? I mean, we know that. What we have to do is start telling the people how we're going to go get away from that. And I like what you're saying. Yes. All those people on the two coasts love exactly what we're talking about with these different policies. Now, these policies cover them as well, but we have to go ahead and go in there and talk about the policies that immediately touches their bread and butter.
Right. I mean, healthcare, student loans, minimum wage, these are all second tier to jobs. I mean, they're all important. They're all pocketbook issues. And they're, more touchy-feely to the left coast. But,
well, Tori, I want to correct you something. I got to correct you on something. Healthcare is not touchy-feely. Healthcare is not touchy-feely. When you go into Appalachia and you see the condition of some of these people, there's a 60-minute program that went into Appalachia with a bus, and when these people were first given healthcare, the feeling that you could see in their face shows that one isn't a goody touchy-feely stuff. So
I don't mean to minimize it. I mean, it's my priority. It is my priority, healthcare, because I don't need a job.
Right.
But for people that need a job,
right.
It's more important that they have a job than they have healthcare or insurance.
Right. Well,
I mean, especially these old style Americans.
Right.
The people that voted one way and then the other, and they thought Trump was going to be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, they would all give up nationalized health care for a paycheck.
Right. Well, I tell you what we want to give them is both, period. No ifs, no buts. But anyway,
I'm saying, you got to really figure, because that is the main thing, is jobs.
Right.
And until the Democrats get it, they don't have it.
You know something? Let me tell you something, Tori. I am glad that you call with that particular message, because I think I need to incorporate that into some of my blogs. Yes, I've been talking about all these Elizabeth has an answer for that. And by the way, Elizabeth has an answer for that one too.
Right.
But those are things that need to be expanded on. So I am glad that you called in with that, my brother.
Yeah,
Anything
Bernie,
else?
Elizabeth, Inslee, they all have plans for jobs.
Inslee's on
and
my
de
bad
Blasio, I don't want him to be president.
Yeah.
I'm one of these other more progressives.
Right.
But I would love to see de Blasio on stage with Trump. I think it would be the best debate ever, because de Blasio would just kick Trump's ass from one side to the other.
Absolutely.
It would be humiliating.
Absolutely.
He's such a good debater.
I know.
He's huge.
Got to go. I already lost Joe. Joe called back. Joe called
Almost.
back. Take it easy, brother.
Cheers.
All right. Okay, Joe called back. And after I take John, which I'm taking now, the lines are empty. So give us a call, 713-526-5738. No long waits, 713-526-5738. I want to hear your voice. Tell me what you think about this election. Come on in, John.
Hey, Berto, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. Talk to me.
Well, your last caller was right.
Yes,
and
he was.
Mean, in the words of Biden, it's a 3-letter word, JOBS.
Right.
I think the progressive policies, while illustrative of what, those candidates want to do, I actually think those types of progressive policies are going to scare more voters than help.
I love that. I know you're a conservative, John, so I need you to help me out here. I really need you to help me out. Folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738. Again, that's 713-526-5738. After Jan, I have no call, so give us a call. All right, go ahead, John. I want to ask you this question.
I just think progressive policies as articulated in a short form.
Okay.
Again,
my question.
Are scary to more entrenched, established voters.
Okay. Again, my question to you, and you see, what I think Democrats do is they fall for that statement you just made. And in falling for that statement, phone's ringing, in falling for that statement, what they do, folks, we need more calls, 713-526-5738. In falling for that statement, what I think happens, John, is that they don't go out to Appalachia, they don't go out to the middle of the ghettos, and they don't go out to the middle of the barrios and say, if you elect me, I will make sure that when you're standing at that bus stop, that XYZ happens. Because I asked you a question that I don't think you were able to answer. And the reason you can't answer that question is because progressive values are what people want. What within any particular policy that I support, that you know I support as my friend who called into this show, what policy scares you?
No, okay, let's phrase that. I may not have heard you because you were breaking apart real early on in the conversation. I'm not talking about you.
Right.
I'm talking about the major candidates. So let me give you an idea.
Thank you.
Just so you understand.
Yes.
When you hear the buzzwords of the free college,
right?
Okay, that is going to put off conservative voters or maybe even Democratic voters, older, more entrenched Democratic voters who paid for their children's college, who understand that the government doesn't create money on its own. It has to take it from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about large social policies, I just think sometimes you are going to not lose on the argument, but you're going to lose some people on that argument because they ultimately think, it's going to come out of their pocket, and they've been doing it all right, their whole life.
And here's the deal, John. And I'm saying, first of all, you are right. That is how they're going to initially think. And what I tell a lot of progressive candidates is I think they're lazy. And why do I think they're lazy? And they are fearful of the plutocracy. And this is what I mean by that. Yes, it is true. You are right. That has to be paid for somehow. And there is a hell of a lot of money to pay it from. We have to first not assume our constituencies are stupid. What we do as a society is we want a stupid constituent. Because if we have a stupid constituent, then everybody can manipulate them. I am in this business to educate educate all of us so that people can realize that we can pay for all of this and it will not hurt the middle class at all. And that's what I'm saying we have to do. So, I love that you called in to say that, because you called and said, oh, Egberto, that kind of policy is going to scare people. You're right.
Well,
it's going to scare them initially.
I am in the scaring business.
Right.
I am in the job of manipulation,
right?
Or not in a negative way.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Is,
yeah, I got it.
And that's all I'm saying. Look, at the end of the day, may the best candidate win.
There you go.
I don't really care. I'm more engaged that people engage in the process.
Got it. Hey, my lines are fully full now, John, and I appreciate your call. And not only that, you just gave me a talking point for my other blog, brother.
Well, good. Glad to be a help.
Thank you. You have a good one, sir.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go. Lines are full now. I love it. Let's go to Wesley. Come on in, Wesley.
Hello?
Yes, you're on, Wesley.
Yes. I would just want to know your opinion on Andrew Yang and his idea of universal basic income.
Love it.
That he's not really pushing left or right as much as pushing forward.
Right.
He has the whole slogan as "Make America Think Again," and I really like that. As a college student, has a degree recently, and I'm looking for a job in my career and haven't found that. I've done a lot of maybe 15 to 20 various types of jobs that I would consider BS jobs.
Right.
I can't say that over the line, but there's a book by David Graeber called BS Jobs. It goes by the other name. But
we're full of that now. But let me talk to you, because I want to answer you real quickly so I can go to the other call, Wesley. First of all, thank you for bringing up Andrew Yang, because it's very important. Basic income. I'm in support of basic income, and in fact, at Netroots, I had 2 interviews on basic income. One is a PhD who wrote several books on basic income, incrementally getting better. But here's the second person I interviewed. I interviewed the other person who is running a test. Just like we have a test in Norway and in Finland that ran this experiment with basic income, they're running it right now. And the results from his experiments, he's putting it into a documentary that he's doing in sequence, are astounding. So, yes, I'm with Andrew Yang, and I think he has a lot to offer. Got to go to the other call, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so kindly for calling in. Okay, let's see. Let's get to Monica, line 4. Come on in, Monica. Monica? Okay, let's see. I may not have hit it right. Monica, line 4. Okay, let me put that back on hold and let me go to Sally, line 3. Come on in, Sally.
Hey, Egberto.
Hey, Sally, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm finally out of Facebook jail.
Oh, you're not in Facebook jail anymore. Okay.
But no, geez, there's so much I really want to talk about. And now I'm a freaking total blank. I'll tell you one thing though. The ACA that Joe Biden wants to grow upon should have actually been called the MIA, the Mandatory Insurance Act, because that's all that was. And I am all for doing away with private insurance.
You know something? I think a lot of people, people are not into their insurance. They're into who is going to, they're into that they can go see a doctor that they want. And whoever pays for it, good for them. But they want to see a doctor. And what we have to do as progressives is sell that. Let people realize, don't fall for the crap that these people on the right are going to tell you. Oh, people love their insurance. Why the hell would you just love somebody who pays a damn bill?
Exactly.
You love
and tells you what kind of treatment you can get.
Right. Exactly. And people talk about they want freedom. Insurance companies isn't freedom. Insurance companies your daddy. You can go there, you can take this pill, you can take that pill. We have to start using our minds and we have, as progressives, have to talk to our audience. We have to talk to our people as intelligent beings they really are, because the other folks are talking to them as they think they are. So when we make that case, then things will be better. What else, Sally? Because I got a few more calls I got to take.
I'm going to let you go. I didn't make my little notes of my highlighted points today. It's just good to talk to you again, and I just want to let you know I'm still here, and I'm still fighting for our cause.
We're going to fight for it. Thank you so kindly. You have a wonderful day, Sally, okay?
You as well.
Bye-bye. Okay, number 4. Let's go to Monica. See if Monica is back. Monica, you're on.
Yes, Egberto.
Talk to me.
I just want to make a comment regarding this idea that because I had to pay for college and I had a huge debt from that everybody else should have to also.
Right.
Why is it that people think that, if it was hard for me, it should be hard for everybody else? We need to realize that the easier we make it for everybody to be the best that they can be, the better off we all are.
That is correct. It is funny, right? Because I'm glad that you call and say that, because I was going to tell the caller, some people are in fact selfish, and they think, well, if I had to go through that, everybody else have to do it too. And I find most people are like you. I didn't get my break, so what? At least my kids and my kids' kids are going to get the break that I didn't get. We evolve as a society. If we were to have that payback attitude for everything, we'd be in a lot of trouble, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we wouldn't have progressed very far at all. I'm going to let you go, though. I know you've got a lot of other people waiting.
Right. Thank you so kindly, Monica. You have a wonderful day, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go. Line numero 2. Come on in, Ted.
Hey. Hello?
Yes, I'm here, Ted.
Oh, okay. I guess I agree with the caller about 3 calls ago. The reason why Biden is supposedly electable is because he doesn't scare people.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer government insurance to private insurance, because I get the VA.
Right.
which is incidentally, I don't understand why that isn't expanded upon.
Exactly.
They could make the wives or, the spouses
sure.
of the people that were veterans, and that's something that I haven't heard explored at all.
Absolutely.
But, a lot of people, that's all they've known is private insurance, and when you say, well, you're going to take away my insurance, and all they hear is Fox News telling them, oh, it takes you 6 months to get looked at, which is nonsense, but that's what they tell them.
Let me tell you how we handle that, Ted. You are a testimony, right? You are the testimony. And there are millions of you that are testimony. The problem is this, right? We have a media that is up for a media that's up for sale, a media that all these other people pay, right? So they're not going to come to you, Ted. They're not going to go to the millions of people that are enjoying the VA. They only hear the negative parts of the VA. They're not going to talk to the millions of people that have great experiences with original Medicare, not Medicare Advantage, but original Medicare. They're not going to hear those stories.
Yeah, the polls show that people prefer Medicare over private insurance.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying, Ted, is this. You have to be that testimony. And guess what? You are that testimony. The mere fact that you came on Politics Done Right today on air, our 100,000 watt transmitter, and made that testimony, there are a whole lot of Americans that otherwise would have thought government insurance is bad. And here is this regular average guy calling in and saying, no, I love my VA. I love my other things. So your testimony is valuable. Thank you so kindly, sir.
But at any rate, because, okay, look at...
real quickly, my friend, I have a bunch of calls, but I want to get your voice in.
Okay, well, there's one other thing I wanted to make. When Barack Obama first got in, he was pretty middle of the road.
Yes.
Or what was considered on gay marriage, right?
Yes.
But by the end of his presidency, he fully endorsed gay marriage.
Yes.
He's about as progressive as you can get on that issue.
Right.
And the thing is, we get a moderate person in there, the chances are that they'll evolve. Whereas, and Biden was the one that pushed him there. Whereas if we just get another conservative, we're not going to get anywhere.
You got that right.
Trump's not going to listen to it.
No, sir. Look, you got that right. I got to go, Ted, but thank you so kindly for your voice,
all right,
okay?
Thank you.
Take care
Bye.
now. All right, let's go to David, line 5. Come on in, David.
Good afternoon, Alberto.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Going back to your original point about the polls.
Yes, sir.
I question the very veracity of the polls because the news media has a stake in whoever is going to be the nominee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that they pushed Biden to the front when before he wasn't polling that well, even though he hadn't declared yet.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to your point about sexism in your blog about
mm-hmm.
the misogyny in the elections and so forth.
Yes.
I think going back, I think it's more than that. I think the reason why people didn't vote for Hillary is not because of sexism, which she tried to bring up in the election, but it's because of who she was.
Yes.
I think most of the people that you heard talking about Hillary is because we need a woman.
Right.
And my point to them was, well, if Elizabeth Warren had decided to run, and I believe they kind of scared her off in not running.
They did.
I believe that if Elizabeth Warren had decided to run, I believe Hillary would have been a distant third.
Yeah. No, let me first address you, then I got to go, David, but I think you're absolutely right about that. And say, I think Hillary didn't get those votes in Michigan, Iowa, Pennsylvania, because Wisconsin, because she didn't go there appropriately and nurtured them appropriately, and also policy. And let's remember, however, and this is so very important, Hillary won 3 million votes more so.
Popular votes.
Right,
yes,
more votes.
That is absolutely
so let's
true.
not forget that. And for me, it's so hard for people to say, oh, well, what does Hillary need to do to win? Hell, she won. But she didn't win the Electoral College. Got to go, my dear brother.
Can I make one last point as far as
Go ahead, make it.
The insurance. People always say, well, they want insurance, but insurance doesn't deliver health care.
Right.
That's the whole point of it. It doesn't deliver health care. In fact, it's the middleman, and it's the middleman that you have to eliminate in order to get free delivery of health care.
Brother, you've been reading. I mean, I know you probably read some of my blogs. I hope you do. You have a wonderful day, sir.
Okay, Greta, you have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to Sharon, line 2. Come on in, Sharon.
Hi, thank you so much. I just have a minute. I just had to call you after something I listened to about the Republicans lying about the health care. What you have to remember, actually, Michael Gruber, the architect of Obamacare, actually called everyone stupid and said, this was during a recording, you can see it, there's a video in front of universities talking about how stupid Americans were to believe that anything that they said was true, like you can keep your health plan. I lost a great insurance plan and I've thrown onto the exchange, so it's been horrific for me and millions of Americans. So, I mean, I would love everybody to have insurance, but what happened to me and millions of others, I think that was the very downfall of the Democrats, because millions of people lost very good insurance, and I am now on the worst HMO, $4,000 a month, $6,500 deductible.
There you go.
And so, basically, I think a lot of politicians would tell you whatever they have to do, to win.
Right.
And that's certainly what happened to Obamacare. They have admitted what a bunch of lies, and millions of people, millions lost very good insurance. And now, I mean, I have wonderful insurance. I'm kicked off.
Well, let me tell you.
To 1,000. So,
right.
And then what the audacity of Gruber to get up there and brag about how stupid Americans were. Well, we really didn't have a choice.
Right. Well, let me just say one thing to you. I mean, and this goes on all sides. All of them are going to lie to you, and that's why if we have something called Medicare for All, where we have this is what everybody is on, and if you want to go private and do some little things for things not covered under the Medicare for All, you can go do it. But as far as the country is concerned, everybody get insured. Now, what you said is so important when you talk about you had great insurance. I do want to say one thing. You had great insurance at the expense of many others. Because it's true that my husband's company, he retired, I know.
They allowed me to keep it until Obamacare went into effect. Then they immediately threw me off onto the exchange.
I know.
They wanted his company was paying our portion. That's why.
Right.
We lost that.
I know.
Millions. And guess what? The unions, everybody else, they hated it. They negotiated.
Right.
Congress negotiated out of that. What does that tell you?
You're right. Let's
get real here.
Sharon, look here. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. As you're the receiver of the insurance. You know that you lost a great insurance policy that served you well. There's no doubt about that.
It's been a nightmare since 2016.
My wife has lupus, so I worked for myself all along. So we were always on the private market, so we knew we were always screwed. The reason I said you had great insurance at others' expense wasn't a hit on you. It was a hit.
It's good because we worked hard and we had a good job. Those benefits came with that.
But what I'm saying,
the government did not pay it.
No.
The company paid it.
Let me back up. It's important for you to understand. When I talk insurance policies and when I tell folks that it is at the expense of others, it has nothing to do with the individual or how hard you work or whatever. There are a lot of people that work hard. It has everything to do with a corrupted insurance system that we have, where some people get the good luck of the draw that with that company they can get good health care, but with another company that they work just as hard, they can't get good health care. It's a luck of the draw. So we have to change the entire system. It's not the individual, it's not you, but the system is corrupt. Thank you so kindly for calling.
Well, I just see that the VA, how it's run. I've also known a lot of veterans have gotten poor care. So it is quite scary when you talk about a government takeover. I would love for everybody to get insurance, but not where you can no longer decide, hey, this is better for me. It's scary. It's like, I'm the government. I'm here to help you. Well, we've seen what's happened to the veterans. It's just very scary.
What we need to do
taking over your health care. That's all.
Right.
But it's great for people that don't have it.
Right.
Everyone should have it.
Let me tell you one thing before I go to the next call is we the people. You are we the people. I am we the people. Veterans do not have to be treated, for those who have bad care, they don't have to be treated that way. They are treated that way because we, the people, allow our politicians to do that.
Actually, with the Democrats, it was President Trump trying to get things through. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I was reading where he tried to get it to where veterans could go to private care, and for some reason, the Democrats in Congress just didn't think that was a good idea. Now, it may have passed now.
I can't get into that right now, but don't believe. Sure. Remember what you said? Don't believe what you hear, okay? I can talk to you about that.
I have to double check it, and hopefully they can go to private care now. But believe me, Congress, you can read about it. They did not like that idea.
And there was a reason for that. And Sharon, I can't go into it now, but we talk about it another time. You keep listening. We'll talk about that, okay? Thank you so kindly now. All right, let's go to Wayne. Wayne numero 6. Come on in, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Egberto.
A real quick, Wayne, my dear brother, how you been? I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah, I've been busy, Egberto.
Talk to me real quick.
First of all, the lady that just called, let her know when she couldn't figure out what was going on. Veterans have had the right to go long before Donald Trump ever became president to go to anywhere that they wanted to go to. I'm a veteran. I know that personally. Mm-hmm. So that force is right. But there's a whole lot of people need to stop listening to Fox News because they're misleading. If you want health care for all, that's Medicare. It's Medicare for all. That's health care for all.
Right.
Obama's plan did not do her any harm. What did her harm was those people kicking her off of her husband's insurance.
Right.
So put the blame where the blame is. The other thing is Hillary did win by more than 3 million votes.
Right.
And the other thing is that I love Elizabeth Warren.
I do too.
I love her.
I'm a host, but I think when it comes to policy and the things that she's talking about doing, let me tell you something, Wayne. It is, if we can get Wayne, here's what we have to do. We have to have people's testimony. People hear stories and people want to know what's happening in real. And that story that you just told, Egberta, the woman that Sharon who just called, I want her to know that I am a veteran and that I could have always gone to see private healthcare. Don't believe what you hear on Fox or don't believe what you hear XYZ. And that's important because there is a particular thing that she needs to understand why it was that folks didn't want to make that change. And it had a lot to do with funding, and it had a lot to do with a creeping towards getting rid of public health care. Wayne, I got to go, my brother.
Another thing that
real
a lot
quick.
of people could use is a lot more listening and stop talking sometimes.
Yes.
I'm going to let you go. Have a great day.
Thank you, my brother. You have a wonderful day, okay?
Okay, all right.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to Anthony, numero uno. Come on in, Anthony.
Hey, I'll be real quick. I just want to make 2 points. Okay, first off to Sharon, was that her name?
Sharon.
Okay. There's a difference between Medicare for All and the VA. For one, the VA is government-owned. The hospitals are government-owned. Underneath Medicare for All, hospitals will still be privately owned, just paid for by the government. That's one thing. Now, when it comes to electability on the general election, I think the best person that's electable would be Tulsi Gabbard. Okay. And the reason why is because she's getting large support from libertarians, right-wing voters, progressives. A lot of progressives love her for what she did for Bernie Sanders back in 2016. And that's just basically the 2 points I want to make.
Okay, I tell you what, as far as Tulsi is concerned, I don't have a problem with any. If Tulsi comes out in the polls and she starts to rise in the poll, that would be fine. The thing about it, I think what we have right now, Anthony, is the shutdown with Democrats just assuming it's all Biden. If Tulsi comes out there and gives some hell of a policy ideas and show that she can win, then we'll vote for Tulsi. I am not going to. Go ahead.
So the problem with that is that the media is not covering her. Like, okay, everyone made a big fuss about the Green New Deal, but Tulsi came up with a much better policy plan, the OFF Act, which would get us off fossil fuels by 2030, and also had provisions concerning nuclear energy, with the Green New Deal
and you know
not
what?
even touched upon.
Now, here's the funny thing about that, Anthony, and I'm not going. What I'm going to tell you is that it's important you're a Tulsi supporter, and you know about Tulsi's policies. You are you have to be out there doing exactly what you just did here. Put it out there so that other people can look at it, my brother. This is an equal opportunity displayer of information. All right.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing I think that would get a lot of Americans on our side is the fact that she introduced legislation called the Stop Arming Terrorists
There you
Act,
go. We got to
which would stop would stop giving funds to Saudi Arabia,
Gotta
which
go,
gives
Anthony.
funds to Al Qaeda.
Thank you, gotta go, Anthony. Thank you so kindly. All right, let's go to either Jerry or Terry. We're not sure. Go ahead.
My name is Gary.
Yes.
We've spoken before.
Hey, Gary, what's going on, buddy? Real quick.
I have two very quick points.
Yes.
One funny, one not.
Let's go.
The funny point is Trump's response to the criticism of his racist comments about the 4 congresswomen. Okay. He comes back and he says, well, if you hate America, you got to leave. It's the greatest country in the world. However, nobody in the media seems to remember that his campaign slogan is Make America Great Again. Which means that he didn't seem to think it was so great.
Very
the
good.
other thing is you guys are trying to treat a symptom and not a disease.
Oh, here we go again with the overpopulation.
No, sir. No, sir. I broke my blessed hip last summer.
Oh.
I was in the hospital for 4 days.
Uh-oh.
I got a bill for, I'm on Medicare, they paid it. The point is the hospital charged over $10,000 for 4 days. I could have flown to Paris and had lunch and flown back. And then I got a surgeon's bill and an anesthesiologist bill and a radiology bill and a nursing bill. All right, it came up to over $12,000. That's what the problem is, the cost of these doctors. It has nothing to do. The insurance people are just following them like a lapdog, okay?
All right. We'll talk.
Focus on medical costs.
All right. We'll talk about that as well, my brother. You have a good one, and thank you so kindly, Gary.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Last call. Stephen, come on in.
Stephen, hey, how you doing there, Alberto? This is Stephen with Information Activist.
Yeah, please go for it, my brother. You got a
I
minute.
just want to drop 2 things. One, I'm not enthusiastic about Biden, and I don't see any good reason to. More so, the second thing is I want to be said to progressives is vote your interests rather than your emotions.
Exactly.
If the candidates are not spewing the things or the subject matter that is relevant and pertinent to you in your life, move on to another one. Because what we don't want to do is what we always do, which is vote emotions versus our interests.
Right.
You know, it's not just a matter of beating Trump.
Right.
It is also, why beat Trump and you still don't get what you need?
That is a magical phrase. Why beat Trump if you still don't get what you need? That is a magical phrase. I got to let you go, but thank you so kindly for being a part of Politics Done Right today, Stephen.
It is my pleasure. Have a great one.
Take care now. Folks, that's been, this is one more edition of Politics Done Right. Look, thank you so kindly for being with us. We really appreciate all those calls. We aim to inform. We aim to give you a voice. We aim to do all that is necessary to ensure that we are successful politically. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And guess what? I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3.